Hey, everybody, welcome into the Raw Knuckles podcast. We'd really appreciate it if you'd like, subscribe, and share with a friend. What I got to ask you, have you had a talk with Uri Slafkovsky yet about keeping his fucking head up?
I asked him, I said, how many dinners do you want to buy me there, big guy? Like, keep your head down, I'll take your free dinners, man. He always gets to the bench, thank you, buddy. I'm like
Yeah. When I stepped on the ice, I never backed down and I never stayed down. And I was vicious and I was malicious and I don't care.
I'm alive. He's a freaking madman. Look at him going to town. That'll be a suspension. That'll be a fine. Alive, I'm alive, I'm alive, I'm alive, I'm alive.
Welcome to the Raw Knuckles podcast. Arber, awesome to have you, buddy. Really appreciate you joining us. Say hi to Tim Stapleton, my partner, Tim.
How's it going, Tim? How are you?
Good, you? Thanks for coming on. This is awesome.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, Timothy played in the NHL. He played Toronto and in Winnipeg, and then he spent some time over in Russia, which is a whole different thing in and of itself. But anyway, let's get going here. And geez, you've taken this city by storm, and I love it because I love the way you play. I love your attitude. You got the old school in you. But I guess I want to go back just to the beginning, growing up in Hamilton. Both your parents, Eastern European. Your dad, Albanian. Your mom, from Czechoslovakia. And they come to Canada. They meet anyway. And then they start a family. All right. Who is it that gets Arber interested in hockey? Was it Arber, or did Dad get you involved in sports? Mom, what happened there?
No, it was my mom. It was a big thing in Czech for them to be playing hockey. Like, her brothers played hockey, and her dad always brought them to the ice rinks in the winter, and he was in goalie, and she loved hockey, so she said, "There's no way he's not going to play hockey." Because I remember when I started, I was always crying and trying to get off the ice, and I was like, "No, I don't want to do this." But she was like, "There's no way, he's going to be a hockey player," and that's what she told my dad. So,
What kind of player was your uncle?
I'm not sure. I don't think she remembers too much, but I don't know. I don't know if he was the same type of player as me, but yeah.
That's funny because I love that your mom kind of pushed you to stay out there because, when we think of it, right, we grew up over here, everything's great, and they grew up in a time in countries that things were difficult. And certainly they had to work for everything they get. And obviously some of that rubbed off on you because when I look at the trajectory of your career and where you started and how you started, you were a kid that, not as big as you are now. You were slight of build, and you weren't drafted when you were young into the OHL. And the story is that apparently you contemplated quitting the game because you weren't drafted. What went on there? And was it Mom that stepped in?
Yeah, so at that point, I was like, I kind of had to make a choice. Rather, I could keep on trying and keep going, or that was it. Because my parents were like, "We're done. We're not if you're gonna go all in, we're gonna support you all the way, and we'll be right behind you the whole way through it. But if you're not gonna give it your all, then you're just stop now because you're just gonna waste time and money. Invest it and go to school and start learning something and find a different career path. Because if you want to put your head to this, we'll be there for you 100% of the time. And so that was kind of that. And I just chose to stay and give it my all because they said if you're just gonna go halfway in, you weren't drafted, so there's not a chance you're gonna get anywhere. So you got to go all in and believe in yourself. So that was a big.
So you go all in. You go all in, and again, that young kid, slight of build, tall but not filled out yet. Did you start to hit the weights? Did you just grow into your body naturally, or did you get to work to get bigger?
Yeah. So when I played junior B, my 16-year-old year, I knew what kind of player I wanted to be. I knew I wasn't going to be this offensive guy, this just only power play strictly guy, and I knew I always liked playing physical, so I had to put on size. Like these guys were way bigger and stronger than me, and I was still competing physically, but I knew if I wanted to make a difference and go somewhere with hockey, I needed to put on weight. So that whole year I was in the gym, I was hitting the weights, and it was just putting on size. So I was eating like 6 meals a day. I was telling my mom, I said, you gotta give me food because everything I researched, it was like you can work out as much as you want, but if you're not eating, it's not going to do anything. Like you need to eat more calories every day. And so I was eating 6 meals a day. I'm telling you, I would sit at the table for 2 hours trying to finish food. And I'm like, now, like, because I'm used to that. Now I can eat. Like I have to stop myself from eating. I have to make sure I have a plate, and that's it. Because if I can eat for hours now, because I trained myself to consume so much food. So that was a big part, was just eating, and I was nonstop in the gym.
Tim, did your family not feed you or something?
Me?
Tim?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm 5'7". I didn't. I can eat though. I can eat. I just don't get the benefits of growing out of it. But did you? Were you fighting then, and like at that age, and like when did that come about?
I always liked fighting as a kid, and my dad
On
obviously
the
liked it too.
street? On the street?
Yeah, yeah.
Or
He's,
like
Couple
like
street fights, school
yeah, he's
fights, but
30
not
and 0, 30 and 0 on the street.
nothing too crazy. But I always just like that tough role, and I always idolized those tougher players, and I thought it was so cool how they could stick up for their teammates, or like they were like the scary guys in the league that like when they're on the ice, everyone knew not to mess with the other players. Like I always loved that, and me and my brother, we always used to watch fight videos. So I think in minor hockey, I was definitely like I would always seem to find a fight with like we had cages on, but we were punching cages. Like we would always start brawls in spring tournaments, and it was just like I don't know. I always had that fight in me. So I mean, I actually started fighting in the OHL because that was when we got the visors. So but in junior B, I had a couple fights. Actually, a funny story. So I got asked to play in the junior B All Star game, 16-year-old All Star game, and nothing was really going for me that game. Like I played okay, but nothing was happening. So at the end of the game, this guy slashed me like behind the net. So I was like, screw it, I'm fighting him. So
the
I
All-Star
tossed
game. I love that.
All-Star game. I tossed the mitts. We had a little fight wrestling match, whatever you want to call it. But after the game, I had like 3 or 4 OHL scouts like asking for me, and I talked to all of them, and they're like, "What are you, crazy? You're fighting in an All-Star game?" And I was like, "Whatever, man. Like it got me to talk to you guys, so it's
Yeah,
yeah."
what fighter did you look up to aside from Chris being your hero? Who
He
is?
didn't even know me. Come on, he was.
You scored too many goals, Nux. That's the problem. No, what are some fighters you liked watching or looking up to?
I liked them all. I liked Wilson. Wilson, he was always one of those tougher guys who could also play too. Like I liked those guys. I liked watching Lucic too. He was always tough, and even Delorier. Like not too long ago, I found out about him, started watching his videos, and like a bunch of those guys. So yeah.
So, you fight in that All-Star game, and still don't get, you don't get drafted. We look at the NHL. I mean, you played what, the 4 years 3 years in Kitchener. You missed the 1 year where you worked at Costco. We get that, but you don't get drafted to the O, and then you don't get drafted to the NHL. Now, I have a hard time when I think of scouts nowadays because, boy, they watch every kid in minor hockey, right? Growing up, they kind of know kids from when they're with their AAA teams, everything, and you get overlooked in the O. You go to the O, you become one of the most feared players there. Apparently, last year everybody was scared shit of you. That's what I heard, and that's a good thing. But I just don't get how they overlook you, and then you have a great, very good junior career. You've established yourself physically, can fight, can play the game, and then you never get drafted in the NHL. How disappointing was that, the NHL piece?
Honestly, I didn't really look into it after the whole OHL thing. I was like, if all these guys get picked and then like I made it, and like I don't know, there's like 80-90% of the draft in the OHL that my age never made an OHL team. and I found a way. So after that, I was like, I just didn't look at the drafts as anything. I was like, this is
all right. So you don't get drafted. You have a great career. You go to the Memorial Cup your last year. You lose in the final, but then you don't get drafted by the NHL. Did you have the confidence at that point that, I'm going to get there somehow? Or were you like, shit, is my dream of being an NHL player going to end here? How did it come about that the Canadiens had that interest in you?
Yeah, after my second year in junior, my first year in junior, I wasn't the best, and obviously I was not as big as I was. I couldn't skate as well as I could now, or anything like that. So that year was kind of like if this is how good I think OHL players are, I don't even want to know how good NHL players are. Like, this is like a dream that's too far to chase. And I think that year, my first year in the OHL, my goal was to play hockey as long as I could. Like, I never said I want to play in the NHL. That was never a thing that I said. I always just said I want to play hockey I want to try to make a career out of playing hockey. So after my second year, or after the last year when I came in and I said, I want to play in the NHL, because that was when I knew.
Was that 21-22 in Kitchener?
Yes.
After the year, after being at Costco.
Yes.
And then you're out of hockey, you lose a year of development, and most kids probably wouldn't have went to work. You did, which is impressive. But so that last year in Kitchener, and then you get traded to Hamilton partway through the season. Is that when you kind of made up your mind, I want to go to the NHL?
Yeah, so after the Costco year, I did end up skating with a bunch of NHL players in the summer, and AHL, NHL, and I thought I was like, I'm right there. I'm right there with these guys.
I got this. I fucking got this.
Right? I'm right there. Like, they're all telling me, like, they're all asking me where I got drafted, and I was like, I'm not drafted. Like, I'm a free agent. They're like, dude, like, you're pretty good, man. Like, someone's gonna pick you up. So I just kept any little thing that someone said that it was like positive or like a good thing. I always kept that with me. Like, if they think I can do it, like, I could probably do it. So, like, all the negative stuff I would brush away, but any small positive comment, like, they would say, like, oh, like, you're pretty good, like, don't worry, you're gonna get drafted or whatever, and I would keep that with me and keep that in the back of my head. So that year when I came into Kitchener, I was like, I want to play in the NHL.
What the whole Costco thing, though? I need to. It's not like you were like shooting slap shots off a dumpster and lunch break, and they just like you were just like, right, like you were like, what's the? Can you clarify what the Costco thing was? Yeah,
man, everyone thinks that I didn't play hockey for the whole year. I just worked at Costco, which is ridiculous because it got blown way out of proportion, and it's pretty funny where it's came. So I don't really care. But
does anyone like chirp you for it? Like, hey, we got clean up on aisle 6. Go clean.
Yeah, a couple of guys on the ice were like, go back to Costco. Like, I think Cassian told me that one time, so it was pretty funny. But
yeah, he wishes you were at fucking Costco that night. No question.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we will get to that. So how is it that the Canadian, who found you with the Canadiens? Who said, this is the guy, we want to invite him to training camp or rookie camp? And who was that guy, and how was that experience?
Yeah, so my second year in junior, the second half is when I kind of turned it on, and I started playing like good defensive hockey. Like, I think I finished with a plus 28 that year. I had 6 goals. Like, I was doing well. Like, that year, honestly, I thought maybe I would have got picked, but I think I was on such a climb, and then COVID hit, so we didn't get a playoffs. And I think if we did get a playoffs that year, I think I probably could have got picked. Depends how deep our team went, and we had a pretty good team that year. So after that, I started getting calls from NHL teams, and like even the one time, I remember Washington called me, and I answered the phone, and I was like, yo, what's up? And it was like, and the guy's like, no, it's blah, blah from the Washington Capitals. And I froze, like my heart sank. It was the first time I ever got a call from an NHL team, my heart sank to the ground and I just froze for a second and I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And I was like, can you hear me? Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear you. Like I had to kind of fake it, but that was probably my worst interview I've ever had over the phone. Like the guy probably thought I was like I didn't have any brain cells or anything because I could not I could not talk. I was like, why would I say that? I was panicking. But so after that year, I started talking to teams, and I remember Montreal. They wanted to do a Zoom call, so we did a Zoom call, and they said that was one of their most like pure and their best Zoom calls they had out of any kid. They said like it didn't seem like you planned for this. Like I'd never planned for the Zoom calls. I wanted them to see like the real me. So that was a big thing for them, how they noticed me. And then obviously COVID happened. There was no hockey for me. So then that year, a guy that worked for them, Matt Turk, he's a GM for Hamilton Bulldogs now, but he worked for them and he was a Hamilton guy, so I knew him from before. And he said, I think we're going to draft you. Like we might draft you in like the sixth round or sixth round. Yeah. And then I remember they traded their pick away. So then he called me right after and said, we just traded the pick. Like, we're not going to take you, but we want you to come to our camp. So then I didn't hear from them for a whole year after that because COVID. And then after the draft, the third time around the draft, didn't get picked up again. And then after that, I got calls from a bunch of teams, and they were just throwing out invites to their camp. And then I ended up choosing to go to Montreal's because I knew obviously Matt Turk there, and he said a lot of guys like my style of game, and obviously I noticed the D that got them success, like the Weber, the Sherratt, Petrie, Edmondson, like that is kind of like how I play also. So that was a big thing for me. I'm like, if they like those guys, then they're gonna like my style.
Yeah. So Weber gone, Sherratt gone, right? Petrie gone, and the Habs, you come to the rookie camp, and the experience there where you're like, shit, I'm here now. Did everything go out the window? Or how was the rookie camp, your first rookie camp with that?
Yeah, that was a tough one because I didn't play a single hockey game for over a year.
Right.
And the first game, it was probably the fastest hockey I've ever played in my life. I was like, this is 110 miles an hour. Like I got rocked like bad twice. Like I got rocked, and I never even been hit like that before. It was just because I didn't know, like I wasn't used to my surroundings, and like I'm used to doing skill drills all year, and then I end up playing a game. So that first game was kind of everything out the window.
Who hit you? Who rocked you?
Kaslik. He's on Ottawa now.
Okay.
So he rocked me twice that game. After the game, two of the player development guys said, one came up to me and he was Rob Ramage, and he was like, you got rocked. He was like, you got rocked. And I was like, he's like, do you know that? And I was like, yes, Rammer, I know that. He's like, we watched you, like all the guys up there watched you get rocked and you did nothing about it. And I like, they didn't want me to go fight them, but
no, I get it.
They wanted me to just like do something, like let them know that you're not going to rock me. And then he's like, and then he got you again. And I was like, I was so pissed off about that. I was like,
well, that's good. He put that to you, though. It's good he put that because it helped you, right? You needed
that.
Yeah.
I needed that for sure. That was like best thing someone could have told me. So the next game, like second shift or something, I hit a guy. He hurt. I think he twisted his knee. Like I hit him pretty bad. And then Kaslik looks at me and I like scream at him. I'm like, we're going. Whip my mitts off, have a good fight with him, and then I would walk by. After that game, I played pretty well.
You dropped him, right? You dropped him there, right?
Yeah. No, that was another kid. That one was this year.
Oh, okay, that was this year.
My first rookie was last year, so we had a good fight or whatever, and then after that, I would walk by, and then I would get props from Rammer, and those guys are like, that's what we like. So then actually. So they just kept me around, and they kept cutting guys. I kept doing well. They kept me around. And then we get to my first preseason game against the Leafs. And that was like, I'm starstruck, man. I'm like,
Right.
I'm working at Costco like 5 months ago,
Yeah.
and now I'm out front with Johnny Tavares. Like I was like so
You were
starstruck.
filling his
Yeah.
shopping cart the year
Yeah,
before.
you're like, I was
Yeah.
working produce. Yeah. Oh, man.
I'm working produce now, net front with John Tavares, man. Like that game was, I don't know. I was lost that whole game. Like I was just looking in the clouds, like this is awesome. And like I had Tavares out front, and I didn't box him out because I was like, I don't want to hurt him type of thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like, so after that game was over, I honestly
You got another talking to?
yeah, so I played in the inter squad game after, and then my starstruck was out the window. Like it was gone, not passed. So I actually did really well in the inter squad, and then I think maybe I was going to get sent home after that. And after practice, I talked to Richardson, the D coach at the time, and I was like, "Hey man, like I need another game. Like you guys need to give me one more game, one more shot. I know you guys like me because you guys kept me here for this long. Like I need to show you what I can do." Like that wasn't me, man. Like I was starstruck. Like that's not me.
That's awesome.
So
So you went to him.
I had nothing to lose. I said if he's either way, if they're gonna send me home, they're gonna send me home. So why not try and ask? So I asked for another game, and he went to the other coaches and told them that I came up to him and asked for another game. I don't know if that changed their decision. I don't know if I was gonna play anyways. But then I get another game against Ottawa, and that game I was a machine. Like I was feeling it. I was playing the puck is exactly how I wanted to. I was running guys. I hit Stutzel. I hit Castle like a few times. Like I was playing good that game. After that game, I signed a contract. So
that's awesome.
That is
you
awesome.
know,
Awesome.
yeah, it is an awesome story, and I say that because I remember, and I don't blame you for freezing up. You know, I remember, you know, my first NHL game in Atlanta when I got called up. Even when I was in training camp, I was so out of place. I'm like, there's Lafleur, there's Shot, there's all these Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famers. I'm like, I was like frozen. And then I go through the whole league in the American League fighting, and I get up my first NHL game, I froze again. I like threw it all out the window, and I was like, shit. I hope they don't send me down after seeing that. And the second game, I went out and did something about it, right? So that's awesome. You went to Richardson, and that says a lot about him. He's a good man anyway, Luke Richardson, and he probably went to bat for you and said, "Hey, let's give him one more game," right? And you know, it's easy, the fighting thing, the tough thing, the sheriff thing. That's easy, right? To be a hockey player is a lot more difficult, and you've proven that already in the short, like this season, 4 goals, 4 assists already. You've got on the power play. You've done a lot of good things that way. Like you can skate, you can make that first pass, man. Like so you can play. And I'm still fucking dumbfounded over how they pass you over. I just because you got to be able to project that, and I don't see how they couldn't see something in you. But anyway, regardless, you're here now, and you get here with the Canadiens, and that first game, you make this team. We saw the fight in Ottawa. You fucking decked that kid. You skated right the penalty box. I loved it. I'm there. Who the hell is this guy? That was the first time I seen you when you fucking decked that guy. I'm there. Oh my God. I've been dying for that. I've been here. Listen, you know the way I play. But anyway, I've been here for 10 fucking years. And Brandon Press was there and he fought. And this team was notoriously small for years. And nobody, Pacioretty got hit. No one fucking went after Chara. You know, and I get it. He's the biggest guy in the league. But no one even fucking.
There was nothing.
You know, tried
There was
to.
nothing.
I think someone went up and started patting his ass. Like, hey, it was a tough, you know, like enough's enough. So I was impressed when I saw that. And I'm there. Who is this kid? And then I tried to say your name when I read it. I'm there. What the fuck? How do you say that? Right. So we get the name, finally get the name, but you know, you get the nickname Sheriff, the sheriff in the O, the new sheriff in town. and then you get to the NHL, and some little wise prick American defenseman gives was it Wyman who give you the nickname Wi-Fi? That's creative. It's creative, right?
It is. I think he saw someone wrote it in the comment section, and then he just took it and made it his own. So, yeah.
Now he's a funny kid. He's a great kid. We had him on the show, but I really like him. But that's funny. The Wi-Fi. We got it. Do you like that nickname?
I mean, for fans, I think it's still a big thing, but I think in the room, it's kind of slipped and it didn't really stick. So
we got to find a fucking new one for you. That Wi-Fi stuff just don't go. Yeah.
No.
Tim, you got to come up with something.
I got to think something with Costco. I don't know. I'll think of something.
Costco kid.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
So you go from riding buses in the O to the NHL and one of the premier, certainly, organizations in the history of not just hockey and sports. Like the tradition and the history is so rich here. Now, you made your decision to come to the Montreal Canadiens instead of Washington or this team or that team. Were you a Habs fan growing up? You a Leafs fan growing up? Let's hear it.
Habs fan.
Come on. Tell me the truth. Come on.
Me and my dad. Me and my dad.
Okay, you're both Habs fans.
So my dad was my dad, when he came to Canada, he started watching hockey because he's like, oh, this hockey is super popular here. Like, he never heard of hockey. And he liked Ty Domi.
Yeah.
But Ty Domi was his favorite player because he was Albanian and he was tough. Like, he loved his style. So I was his favorite player. And then he said, why is everyone Leafs fans here? Like, so then he switched and he said, I'm going to be a Montreal fan. So he started being a Habs fan. And then I was just a Habs fan because of him. Like, I got jerseys at home, pictures. Like, I was a Habs fan my whole life.
That's awesome. And you get to fulfill that dream. You come to the Habs, you're here. How is it to be able to come to an organization like this? Your first year, you make the team and, getting on that plane with a big first-class seat. They feed you like a king. You must just chow on the plane. And then the locker room, you got to cook, right? They cook you breakfast, lunch, dinner, everything, right?
Yeah, the chefs are insane. It's insane. I remember I was eating a steak on the plane, and I look over at Gooley because we sit beside each other. I'm like, man, what the fuck are we doing right now? Yeah. We're eating a steak on the private jet. What are we doing, man? Like, how is this normal? Yeah. How do we accept this to be normal, like, for our lives? Like, how? Like, this is like a treat, man. Like, we're sitting there, we're like eating a steak. I'm like, how is this normal, man?
How many steaks did you eat? How many steaks you eat?
just one, man. I'm a rookie, man. I can't get caught eating too much.
So you're a rookie when you get that, and you're super grateful you're here, right?
Oh yeah, it's a dream come true, man.
You know what? Don't ever lose that. Keep your feet planted on the ground. You know that, exactly. And just keep doing what you're doing. I certainly love that, and you know what a great feeling it is because I've done it. But how good is it to be able to go out there and stick up for your teammates and to look at each and every one of them and know they fucking appreciate it, right?
Oh, it's the best.
Like there isn't one fucking guy on that team that does not appreciate what you do, right?
It's the best feeling, man. Like Monahan was telling me the other day, he said, man, like that's the best thing a guy could ever do is someone could go fight for one of his teammates. It's the number one thing that another teammate could do for each other, Well,
yeah, I mean, you're also scoring too. It's like that's pretty cool. Like you're on the power play a little bit. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did that happen, right? Yeah. And it was the first time you played power play?
Yeah, I didn't play power play in my entire junior career until last year because I was an overager, so I started playing power play like just I'm an older guy, and then I ended up power playing like 6 or 7 games in the NHL. So
that's awesome.
And I ended up doing pretty well, so it was good, man.
But see what happens there, right? And it's awesome because, I've been here the last 10 years before Jeff Gorton, Kent Hughes, and Martin St. Louis got here, okay? And it was tough to watch some nights. And guys would make mistakes. They get their ass sat down. They'd end up in the minors. They couldn't call a guy up. Guys would get sat out. Now, you've been sat out a couple times this early going here, and I'm sure you were disappointed, but I don't want to speak for you, but I'm sure you were disappointed. If you weren't happy, if you were happy, then you probably shouldn't be here. But a couple games you sat out, and you got 8 defensemen and young guys, and Martin St. Louis finds a way to get everybody in the lineup. He don't like guys languishing too long on the sidelines, right? And how is it been with him leading the way? Like, you've had a lot of coaches in your young career, your junior career, but what's different about this guy? I heard everybody talk about him from Suzuki to Caulfield. They talked about how important this guy was and the speech he had before. What is it about Martin St. Louis that guys really respect and love?
Yeah, man, he's just such a pure and honest guy. Like, there's no way else to put it. Like, he's so pure in everything he says, and I think he's got the respect from every guy, obviously, because what he's done in his career, and for a guy like that to do what he did, it's pretty special to see. And just like, if you hear that guy talk, it's just like everyone's zoned in at all times. Like, it's like motivational, inspirational. Like, man, he's just been amazing. And for the young guys especially, like, I've had tons of coaches like in my OHL career where I'd make a mistake. Like, even when I was 6th, 7th defenseman on the team, I'd make one mistake. I'd be sitting there like, that's my last shift of the game. Like, I knew right away, and I wouldn't play the rest of the game. But like, especially when you're rotating in and out of the lineup, you come in and your first couple shifts are going to be a little rusty. Maybe your first period's a little rusty, but he never sits you. Like, you keep going until you get your rhythm back. So he's been really good for the young guys and allowing us to do that and get our confidence and just keep our confidence throughout the games.
He's been there. He was a player. I used to hate when coaches like that played would do something. I would be like, you played the fucking game. You know how this works. But
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but it sounds like he's instilling like, hey, this is how I was when I played. And he's experienced, like you said, it's awesome. I'm just laughing because like you're so down to earth and your story's awesome. And I'm just thinking like you're at Costco and like your manager at Costco, and now you got St. Louis as your coach. Like, it's gotta be like everything's just happening, and I think it's so cool.
I know. And for me, it's like it's so hard for me because I can never soak in like what's happening and process it. I just kind of roll with it, and I'm like, at the end, probably when the season's over, I just sit down for a second. I'm like, what just happened? Like, what was that? Like, how do I go from Costco managers bossing me around to playing for St. Louis? Like, it's all happening so fast, and it's just like I got no time to soak it in. I just got to go. So,
it's funny. I was talking to Martin one day before the draft. No, after the draft, we were talking, and he said we were talking about something. Your name come up. I talked to him before the draft, but I talked to him after the season started, and we were talking, and your name come up, and he said, Knuckles. He said, there's some guys that play hockey, and then there's some guys that are hockey players. Arber's a hockey player. And I was like, fucking, it blew me away. Like, that's the kind of stuff you hear out of him, not that normal coach speak that.
No.
And he blew me away when he said it, and it makes sense, right? There are some guys that just fucking play hockey because, I'm making a living, I'm playing hockey. And then there's fucking hockey players, and you can see them, and you're one of those guys. And that's, you couldn't get a better compliment.
Oh, it's special, man.
So all these young guys, I look at Gooley. Like, Gooley look like, honestly, you guys look like you've been playing in the league for like fucking 4 or 5 years. Like, you got your feet on you. And I say that because I've seen defensemen come through, and it's a tough position to adjust to go from junior to the NHL level. What for you has been that biggest adjustment, the biggest adjustment as a defenseman? Because it's, Connor McDavid coming at you one night, and thank God then, you only see him a couple times a year, but that's not easy to defend. A lot of speed in this league now. What's the biggest adjustment for you?
Yeah, it's just all positional and your stick. I found that in junior, I was able to poke the puck off guys so easily, and at this level, like, if I, like, at the start of the year, I would reach for pucks and they would burn me with passes, like no problem. Like quick stick handle, boom. Like, because I would always look for guys in junior. If they had their head down, I'd jump them, strip the puck from them every time. These guys have their head down. You go to strip it, and they're just so fast with moving the stick, and also positionally, like that's a tough one too. Because any little error you make that you're out of position, like pucks in your net, like there's nothing you can do. Like in junior, I would be charging guys in the corner, running guys, like no problem, just big bully. But here it's like you can't do that. Like guys will pass up the point, grab your jersey, yank you, book it to the net. Like D snaps on net. There's two guys out in front of the net, and you're in the corner. Like it's stuff like that. Like you don't need to chase as a D man. Like you just got to be in the right position. So I think that's as I've came along with these games. I think that's a big thing that I've gotten better at, and that was a tough adjustment for the first bit.
As most of you know, I'm a dog person. I have a Saint Bernard. Her name is Adele. Why do I feed Adele formula raw? Because I love her. I want to provide her with a healthy, well-balanced, locally sourced diet. A diet that consists of meat, chicken, fish, mixed with fruits and vegetables that her 140 pounds requires. I also feed her formula raw because it helps her overall energy, it helps her with allergies, and helps strengthen her overall immune system. Dimitri and Nick at Formula Raw have worked tirelessly over the last 10 years to perfect their recipe, and they've got it because you know how I know? Adele loves it. She never misses a meal, and she's a healthy, big, beautiful Saint Bernard.
What's a bigger thrill for you? Winning a fight or scoring a goal? What was scoring a goal like?
Oh,
Good
scoring
question,
a goal,
Tim.
nothing beats a goal, but I don't know. The fights are fun too for me. I like them, but I don't know. Like when you score, it's a different feeling, man. It's great. And you look at like I have 4 goals, and you look at Cole and Suzuki, like they're scoring every night, and you're like they get that feeling every night. Like must be nice, man.
But listen, you're leading the league in rookies for defensemen scoring, which is like, come on. Not drafted, fucking pass over them, see you later, and there you are. And don't let this go to your fucking head now. Keep going. I love that. And one thing I noticed about you, and I talked to Tim a little bit about before it, is that you are getting your shots through the net. You don't take the big fucking windup, because you don't have a lot of time in this league, and a lot of shots get blocked. But yours find a way to get through because you don't hang on to it too long. So keep that going. But, it's funny, Tim, he asked that question because I playing the game the way I did. I absolutely went fucking batshit when I scored a goal. Like, you would think every goal I scored was a winning goal and people, they ask me that a lot. Was it better winning a fight or scoring a goal? I'm telling you, there's nothing like scoring a goal in the NHL.
Yeah, for me, it was scoring a goal because I never fought.
Nothing beats the goal, man.
Yeah, man, the goal's the best. Right? It's the best.
When you see the mesh move and the light go on, you're just like, let's go, man.
That's awesome.
All right, so you get your first light goes on, and the mesh moves, and the light goes on against
Dallas.
Was it the Yotes?
Dallas.
Oh, Dallas. Sorry,
Dallas. Yeah,
Dallas. And the night you fight Cassian, what, like that first fight, what did that do for you? Do you think, not just personally, but the fan base in the city and your teammates, where you kind of, arguably one of the tougher guys in the league, you just fucking laid waste to him?
Yeah, I knew in my head, like they see me fight a few times in preseason, but that wasn't anything big. But I knew, like at the Bell Center, we were up 3-0 or whatever in the first, and I knew one. They have a couple guys that'll fight, so I knew someone was gonna try to do something, and I'm like, if one of those guys runs our guy, like I'm gonna be there, like especially when it's 3-0. So Cassian ends up asking me, or he's chirping me off the face off. I was chirping him, and then we ended up getting tangled up and fighting. And when we dropped those gloves, I was like, "It's my first fight. Like, this needs to be a good one. Like, I need to make a statement. I'm out of nowhere. Like, I'm not even like an American League fighter. Like, I'm out of nowhere. None of these guys in the league really know me. So that's like, I had to put myself on the map there. So I'm like, I got to give this everything I got. So that ended up being why I fought so hard in that one.
Oh, you did. And
Yeah.
that was a hell of a start. There's no question about it. Now, you fought a few times since. You fought Delarier. You did well. You know, he connected. You connected. And again, you're not every fight's going to be like Cassian, although you certainly go for that. There's no question about it. And then what I got to ask you, have you had a talk with Uri Slafkovsky yet about keeping his fucking head up?
I asked him, I said, how many dinners do you want to buy me there, big guy? Like, keep your head down. I'll take your free dinners, man. He always gets to the bench. Thank you, buddy. I'm like
yeah. Was that his first goal when you came storming like out of nowhere? You like ran
we had so much adrenaline in that game, and obviously I fought Cassie in the bay. I'm buzzing on all cylinders, and he gets ran, and then I see like a perfect chance. I start flying in the zone. St. Louis, like, what is this D-man going on forecheck for? I end up running the guy, and then he scores. So we had some fun that game. So yeah, that was pretty funny. But he's got it.
Go ahead. Sorry.
He's just got to get his head up, man. Like, I tell him, like, man, guys are gonna lay you out, man. I know you're a big kid, but like, especially a guy like Luke Shen, like that was a big hit, man. And he's leading the league in hits, finishing all his hits. So
yeah, it's funny, like, you know, when and again, we forget he is 18 years old. You think back when you're 18, you're 21, you're still a baby in this league, but you have that 3 more years on that kid. You know, here we are talking about 18-year-old kid playing at this level. And yeah, he got man body, but boy, there's a lot to learn when you get to this level, right? But exactly. Incredible kid though, right?
Yeah, he's awesome, man. I never think he's 18. I always think he's my age. Like, if I go back to when I was 18, I could barely play in junior. Like, he's in the NHL now, so it's pretty insane.
Yeah, and I'm sure you give him a lot of comfort. There's a lot of comfort there, knowing that, you know, if anybody's going to try him or do something, you're going to be there, and you've already shown that a couple times here for him. So good on you, and I know that goes a long way with your teammates. Montreal, and your roommates with Jordan Harris, right? Kid, still?
Yeah.
You and
no,
Jordan?
we moved.
Okay, so you're roommates for a while.
Yeah, we were.
How it got to be a great feeling being on this team where there are so many young guys. You're not the only young guy. How's that make the situation for you here? A lot better?
No, it's great. It's great because when I came into junior, we had an older team, and that was like, it was like uncomfortable. It was like just a couple of us rookies, and it was just like, it was a weird like feeling. Like, it was such a separation, but with this team, we got so many new guys this year, so many rookies, and also so many young guys. Like, Cole is my age, Kirby's my age. Like, they're not any older than me. So it's Suzuki's a couple years older than me. He's a captain of the team. Like, it's been great because it's a young team, but even the older guys, they're super chill, and they don't treat you like you're anything less than them. So it's been really good.
But you still are like, you know, you're last off the bus and last one to eat. Like, they still got that stuff going.
Yeah, you just do that just for respect.
No, I know. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
It's just a respect thing. So
yeah.
Did you guys do the rookie dinner yet?
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah.
How was that?
It was good because we had a lot of guys to split with, but it was it definitely hurt to see that go.
Where'd you guys do it? What city?
Chicago, I think.
Yeah. That's where I'm from.
Expensive bottles of wine.
Oh yeah, like they were
lobster,
ordering
crab legs, everything. Just pig out. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you were right at home. You were like just eating as much. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like two, maybe 3 hours, and I didn't stop eating for a second. got this Wagyu steak. I've never even heard of it before. I'm eating it. I'm like, this is insane. What is this?
Wagyu. I never heard of Wagyu before. I love
Give me
that.
2 of them. Oh, that's awesome.
Actually, they do. They have Wagyu at Costco now. They do.
They sell it?
Yeah.
I never had that before. But
Matter of fact, can you get us a deal on the black card at Costco?
No, nothing, man.
I can't.
Even when you work there, you didn't get any discounts. Everyone's saying, "Did you at least get discounts?" I said, "Absolutely not. You get a free membership. That's about it."
Oh,
So-
that's amazing.
So here you are in the big city. You live in downtown, right near the Bell Center. Commute to work. You just take the elevator down. That's the best. I used to do that when the old Forum was there. I live right next door to it. I get on the elevator down. I'm right there. What do you just freaking love about this city, other than the hockey and the fans? Right, you love the fans. Obviously, they love you. But what do you love about this city?
Like for me, it's just how passionate they are for the game. Like anywhere I walk, somebody's noticing me, and I'm just like, how? Like if I saw another NHL player walking the mall, I probably wouldn't even think like on another team. I wouldn't even notice them. Like they're just so passionate and so like diehard. It's insane, and I just love the city. There's so many restaurants. There's just everything about the city. I like it. It's really good.
Yeah, Canada's nuts. Like, I mean, when I was in Winnipeg, I was like, people were, at the grocery store and all that shit noticing me. And then you go back to Chicago, and I'm like, why is no one talking to me? It's because, like, no one knows who the fuck I am. it's like you're, like, almost spoiled. No, it's cool.
Long season ahead of you. What do you think here when you look at this team? Now, I picked you guys not to make the playoffs this year with good reason. We know what happened last year. And let's say, and I don't mind if I underestimated what I thought you guys could do this year, but you're certainly proving me wrong, and you're right in the hunt still. Do you think this is going to last this year? You guys, you got a shot to make these goddamn playoffs this year?
Yeah, I think so. We got honestly a couple things to figure out. Like, we lose games, and when we lose games, it's because our mistakes. Like, we're not getting outplayed by the other team. Like, it's just from our errors. Like, if we tighten up a few things, like, we're gonna win a lot of games. Like, we played those 4 games on the road there, and we honestly got the first one in Calgary. Like, obviously, Allen stood on his head, but all the other games we should have won clear out. Like, we did it to ourselves those other games with the penalties and just the discipline. And other than that, like, we should have won all those games. Like, we outplayed Edmonton, I think, and Vancouver as well. Like those games we should have won those games. So we could have went 4 for 4 in this road trip, which is pretty good for a team who finished dead last year. So I do believe we can keep it going, and I think it'd be really cool to make playoffs.
Yeah, it would be. I'd love to see you guys prove me wrong, and I've certainly you've done a whole lot better than I thought. Now, you talked about it, but Edmonton, that parade to the penalty box. Who started that parade to the penalty box, by the way?
You know who started it?
I felt bad.
Shit, man.
I've done that shit.
Tough one.
I've done it before, and I saw you go in the box. I'm now, oh, please don't fucking score. They didn't, but then they took a 5-on-3, right? Or
yeah, 5-on-3. And as soon as I got out, I was penalty killing as a forward, and they scored.
Yeah.
But as soon as I didn't know it was McDavid, but as soon as he came around the net, I wanted to like slow him down a bit. I usually do that, and I get away with it, but I hooked him on the knees, and he like fell down. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, he did dive.
The ref in the corner didn't even see it. He just saw him lay on the ground. He looks over, his hand goes up. I was like, no way. Like, we have this game, and I just took a stupid penalty.
Right. And he had already called the penalty on him, right? He already called the penalty on him.
Yeah, that's why. They called one on him.
And he bitched him on.
He was pissed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I knew as soon as it was him, I was like, if it was anyone else, maybe
you couldn't have breathed on him. You couldn't have went, yeah.
At that point, if anyone was touching him and he went down, it's automatic. You're going in the box. So ended up being me. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So worse going back to the bench too after, and you're just like, don't say anything. Don't say anything. The coach is like, you can't be doing that, man. You're just like, fuck. Sorry, man.
What Tim, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, what's it like playing against McDavid? I mean, are they above him and Draisaitl? Because, like, not saying starstruck, but I'm just saying, like, well, yeah, what's it like?
Pretty cool, man. That guy's special. Like the way he can skate and just cross over, like he gets that much speed. Like it's out of nowhere. He's gliding, takes 3 crossovers, he is gone. Like those two together are the craziest I've seen on the ice. Like I don't even know how you get that good at the game. It's
yeah, it's like cheating.
It's like how are they that good? Like how? Yeah. Like max level hockey players. They're pretty good. You give them any chance on the power play, it's over. Like I mean, they scored three power plays goals that game. Like it's not a chance you can stop those two on the power play.
So, mom and dad been down to some games?
Yeah, a few.
How's it been for them? They got to be like, you're pinching yourself. They got to be pinching themselves, right?
Oh, it's over the moon for them. It's when they came in the room, like they looked around. They're like, this is your new life. Like this is your life. Like they saw
gotta be so proud, right? So proud.
They're like,
right?
You did give it your all.
Awesome.
You did give it your all.
Yeah, they love it. Like my dad was asking me if he could take a video of the room. I'm like, Dad, like. I brought them in the room and he's like,
take a jersey. Take a jersey. Grab a couple sticks.
Take whatever you want, man. He's like,
pictures with the coach.
Yeah, he's like, can I take a video? I'm like, Dad, man, like get in there. Like what's mine is yours. Like we did this together. So like, I want them to enjoy it. I want them.
Do you guys have like a dad's or mom's trip this year planned?
Yeah, we have a mom's trip in Nashville, Washington. So that'll be good.
Well, that's gonna be fun. God, they do so many things.
I want to make sure she can go.
Yeah,
awesome.
They do so many things, and I see that I get jealous because I would have loved to have gone on a trip with my dad. And my dad made a couple trips, but not with all the other fathers. No. I'd catch him somewhere on the road, but that's so awesome to get to experience that. I just hope your mom gets a chance to go. It'll be fun.
She's gonna go. Awesome. I'll make sure she goes.
Yeah. How about now? You got a younger brother, okay, and he's playing junior now. Is it Florian?
Yeah, Florian.
All right, now Florian's playing junior now, and not like he's got to keep up with the brother, but he got big shoes to fill if he's going to do that. He's your younger brother, obviously, but does he talk to you for advice? What position does he play? Is he forward, D-man, or
he's
what's
forward?
Going on with Florian?
Yeah, he's a forward. He sometimes plays center, mostly wing though. He's a late bloomer too, same as me. Like he takes his years to develop. I personally think he should have went school route, so he just has 4 more years after junior, like guaranteed. Yeah. But he didn't really have interest in that, and he wanted to. He said, "If you did it, why can't I?" Type of thing. Like,
good for him.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's a tough kid too. He was never really a fighter, like a fighting kid. Obviously, when I would pick on him, that's about it. But he had 2 fights last game, I think, in one game. So I think he has like 3 or 4 fights this year already. So he's
can he play a little bit too?
Yeah, he can play. He's a good goal scorer. I think he's got
good
8 goals. Yeah, he's pretty good, man. He hasn't filled out to his body. I think he's like 170, 175 pounds, but I think he's pretty tall. He's like around 6'3", so I think once he fills out, he'll be a good player. He just needs some time.
Well, I hope they some of these scouts stop putting them on the fucking radar so they don't make the same mistake, right? You never know.
Even after I got drafted to the OHL, like I had a good year, and then he didn't get drafted to the OHL. I was like, how does no one just grab him? Like, how do you not just grab him? Then same thing happens. He plays in junior B. Every team invites him to the camp. Exact same as what happened to me. I'm like, and if he doesn't get drafted to the NHL, like someone just waste a pick on him or something, just cause, I don't know what's going on, man. Like, you gotta think something happens for the kid, man. If I did what I did,
Well, just maybe, and I happen to think in a few years when it's his turn, you're gonna carry some sway like you already do in this town, and you just say, "Hey, come on, invite him to camp."
Yeah,
you could help him out that way, and at least he gets an invitation to camp if you don't get drafted. And I mean, what the hell? Give him a sniff and see what he can do. They did it with you, and Christ, they reap the rewards right now. It's awesome. So, yeah, Jesus, I could go all day here talking to you, but you got a long season ahead of you, and I love where you're at, and I love the way you're carrying yourself in this town. I want to see you keep going. I'm proud of you. You know, I haven't played that role here for so many years, and to see you come on, I'm telling you, and we got to sit together at dinner at the Bell Center that night. I mean, I love this kid. He got the old school in him, and I do. You're a great kid, and I want to see nothing but good things for you in the future. And just keep going there, and you know, do your job. Keep playing the game the way you're playing it. Rack up the points, baby.
I agree.
Right?
Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep smiling, having fun, man. You could tell like you're just, you know, not taking this for granted, man. It's awesome. I feel like I know you, and your story's incredible. You believe it or not, you're probably giving little kids hope, you know, so it's pretty cool. So keep doing what you're doing, for sure.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Arber. Good to again. I want to thank you for joining us, and I appreciate it. And we'll talk down the road here. All right, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Awesome.